How's it going, Star Wars fans? Welcome back to the show. New York Toy Fair is just about to wrap up, and we have the latest roundup on all the latest Star Wars The Black Series news straight from the Hasbro booth in New York. Wow, has Hasbro come up with some great new additions to the Black Series line this coming April and in the fall as well. We start, of course, with the vintage collection that's making its comeback this year, as we all know. Some new characters that Hasbro announced at Toy Fair this year include the young Han Solo in the vintage collection, 3 3/4 line. We also have this Range Trooper, which kind of looks a little funny, but who knows, might be a cool character. He's coming to the vintage collection line. We have this Mimban Stormtrooper that is also making its debut in the vintage collection line. So a lot of Solo Star Wars Stories characters being featured as new characters in the vintage collection line. We have also, of course, our first look at Dr. Aphra from the Marvel Comics series. We knew that she was the fan-voted character that Hasbro decided to make for this year. This is actually the first time we've seen the figure itself on display at New York Toy Fair. So she looks pretty interesting. She kind of looks a little different from what I thought she'd look like. A little bit more bulky than what I would have expected, but nonetheless, I'll be picking her up for sure. We also have a surprise. The Supreme Leader Snoke is getting an addition into the vintage collection line. I wasn't the biggest fan of the character in The Last Jedi, and I can understand why Hasbro is releasing him now in the vintage collection line, but I can think of a whole bunch of other characters that they could have released instead of Snoke. But hey, I might be picking him up, I might be passing on him, no clue. Rey Island Journey is also getting a 3 3/4 inch super articulated version in the vintage collection line, which is, interesting. I love the Rey Island Journey version in the 6-inch line. This one I'm definitely going to pick up as well. But after seeing that face sculpt that they have in the new wave of Black Series figures, I don't think this one, aside from the vintage collection packaging itself, I don't think this one would be as great. We also have repacks such as Luke Skywalker. We have Rey, Jakku, the Death Trooper. But definitely interesting, an interesting array of announcements this past weekend at New York Toy Fair. I would say for the vintage collection line, the figure that I'm most excited for would be either Dr. Aphra or this Mimban Trooper. I love the weathering that's on this Stormtrooper. He comes with like a cape and a rifle as well, so very interesting. I can't wait until the vintage collection comes back. I've been saving my money to pick up a couple of these figures right away when Wave 1 hits, even though if some of them are repacks, it doesn't matter. These carded figures are the best. And I can't wait until April when the first wave hits. Now, of course, the biggest news to come out of New York Toy Fair is the announcement of the latest figures in the 6-inch Black Series line by Hasbro. First up on the line, we got Tobias Beckett, a new character played by Woody Harrelson in Solo: A Star Wars Story. Now, he looks exactly like Woody Harrelson. I'm very impressed with the face sculpt. I'm definitely going to pick him up for sure. Of course, we have no idea who the character is, what he does, how cool he is, but definitely a can't miss figure if you're a Star Wars fan. We also have a bunch of exclusives coming out in the 6-inch line. This Mimbin Stormtrooper is going to be very interesting because he will be a Walmart exclusive. Now, we all know that Walmart has had distribution issues just in terms of keeping figures in stock, and with this being a Walmart exclusive, fans might find this guy a little hard to come by, which is very unfortunate. Why Walmart still gets exclusives, honestly, I don't know. But hey, if you guys are going to hunt him down, I would suggest getting him sooner rather than later, because he will be a hard to find figure for sure, especially for those outside of the United States. So I got a feeling this guy will be fetching a hefty price on the secondary market, unfortunately, which is a shame. Next on the list we have Princess Leia, Organa Hoth version, the Hoth Leia, which has been a figure that a lot of people have been asking for. Collectors have been dying for this, and it's finally going to happen. Thank God this one isn't going to be an exclusive. Definitely a must pick up in future waves in the Black Series line for sure. She looks great, highly detailed. Love the face sculpt. Bang on, Carrie Fisher, can't miss. I'll be picking this one up for sure. Next on the line we have Vice Admiral Holdo, which is the figure that's stirred up the most controversy online. A lot of people are going to have already anointed her as the peg warmer of the year, which I kind of agree with. I can think of 1,000 characters that they could have picked, that Hasbro could have picked instead of Vice Admiral Holdo to come out in the Black Series line. I can see why they would want to pick her and push her out now, because if they won't release her now, there will be no window for her to ever be released. She's again a very controversial character in The Last Jedi. Personally, I don't think I'll be picking her up. I'll be passing on her. And my only hope for collectors out there is that this figure doesn't clog up the shelves like we've seen in the past with peg warmers like Constable Zuvio, Finn, and everything else that you see, Jyn Erso, Cassian, that's been clogging up the retail shelves for about a better part of 2 years, 3 years even. So let's hope that Vice Admiral Holdo doesn't end up like a Rose Tico from The Last Jedi. And one of the more intriguing characters is the Target exclusive Gamorrean Guard. Finally, the Gamorrean Guard in Jabba's Palace from The Last Jedi, Return of the Jedi, is going to be in the 6-inch form. Definitely would want to pick him up. He is a Target exclusive, unfortunately, which is very, very sad for those who live outside of the U.S., myself included. He looks amazing. I mean, just look at the details in the press images that Hasbro has released. He comes with a nice fur jacket. His jaw is articulated. A lot of accessories. Definitely a must-have if you are a die-hard collector and you want to fill out that shelf with Jabba the Hutt and all his different guards. A must-have for sure. Again, I just hope that Target carries enough of this guy, and for international retailers to have a chance to sell them as well, because I know this one will be something that a lot of collectors will be after for sure. Zukis, one of the bounty hunters, pretty much it completes the line of bounty hunters that we see from the original trilogy. A lot of collectors again will be after him as well. He is a Toys R Us exclusive, so out of all the exclusives, out of all the retailers Toys R Us seems to be the only one that carries a good amount of stock for the exclusives, so this is good news for collectors for sure. Personally, I'm not too fond of the Bounty Hunters. I mean, I love Boba Fett, but I personally will probably be skipping on this guy just because I don't really collect the Bounty Hunters, but I'm sure all of you collectors out there will be after him for sure. Again, he will be a Toys R Us exclusive. And finally, the figure that I absolutely want the most is Commander Wolf from the Clone Wars is making his Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch debut. He will be a GameStop exclusive. So again, another exclusive. I hope he makes it into Canada. If not, I will definitely pick him up on the secondary market. He is the figure that I want the most. I collect Stormtroopers. I collect Clone Troopers. The Clone Wars is arguably my favorite era in the entire Star Wars line. So Commander Wolf will look great alongside my Captain Rex right now, and I absolutely must have him. And I think a lot of collectors, you guys out there, will be after him as well. So hit up your local GameStop when he gets released. And if you're not in the US, just hope and pray that somebody in your country will carry this guy, because he looks like an absolute gem. Just look at him in this press image right here. The detail on the face sculpt, the weathering, well, not weathering, but just the paint applications. I love his helmet. I love that wolf insignia on his shoulder plate. Man, this is the guy that I want the most. And we also have an Amazon exclusive. Boy, a lot of exclusives. An Amazon exclusive Droid 3-pack featuring a weathered version of R2-D2, and not too sure who the other droids are. They definitely look like repacks of like the R5-D4. I know for a fact he isn't R5-D4. He's another droid, and the green one I'm not too sure myself. But this one I won't be picking up right away. Amazon has been very good with carrying their exclusives in the past, so probably gonna wait it out for this guy. Play the waiting game for this 3-pack and try to see if I can get it on clearance or at a discounted price on Amazon. This 3-pack should be available pretty readily for the most part. And last but not least, we do have Black Series editions coming in the 6-inch scale from Solo: A Star Wars Story. We have young Han Solo, of course, as you can see here in the press image. He looks fantastic. I will definitely be picking him up. He shouldn't be too hard to find. He'll be released in the next wave of figures in April 2018, in time for Solo: A Star Wars Story. He will be released in conjunction with Lando Calrissian. This figure looks absolutely spot on as well. He looks exactly like Donald Glover. Definitely a figure that you'll be able to find at retailers abroad as well. We also have Kira, as you can see here, that will be added into this Black Series 6-inch line. Kind of looks like Amelia Clark, not so much. Not 100% in my opinion, but an interesting figure nonetheless. Of course, we don't really know what her character is going to be all about, but hey, it's Amelia Clark. I will be picking her up for sure, and I feel like a lot of collectors in hand will be picking her up as well. Now we also have the Range Trooper that will be coming in the 6-inch line. This guy just looks like a mashup of past Black Series characters and toys. Depending on how he appears in the movie, I might or might not be picking him up. Right now I'm leaning towards probably passing on this guy and just maybe waiting for him to drop into clearance, because I'm sure this guy will be around the pegs. He won't be hard to find, and I just don't have a sense of urgency in picking them up. In fact, all the Solo: A Star Wars Stories figures, at least from the first wave, when it hits stores in April will probably be very easy to find, so I'm not too concerned about these guys. So that was all the big news from Hasbro at New York Toy Fair 2018. I'm not really going to get too much into detail about the 5 POA 3 3/4 inch figures. They are coming out with a Rogue One tank, an Imperial tank that we saw in Rogue One in the 3 3/4 inch scale. That looks exciting. I might be picking that up. If it goes on clearance. I'm not a big collector of Star Wars vehicles, so that's not something that will be top of mind for me. But if it is for you, it will be available sometime in fall 2018. We also had a very interesting announcement. Hasbro is getting into crowdfunding. So Hasbro is currently crowdfunding for about 5,000 pieces of this 4-foot long Jabba the Hutt sail barge that you see in Return of the Jedi. It's a 4-foot accessories, a 4-foot playset that you can use to put all your different 3 3/4 inch action figures in. I know a lot of collectors have been asking for this for a very long time. This one won't be hitting retail. This one will just be sold online exclusively by Hasbro. Again, they must reach 5,000 pre-orders before this thing even gets into production. So if you're one of those guys that's been wanting a Jabba the Hutt sail barge for the longest time, make sure you go and pre-order one of these bad boys. I believe the price is $500 US, so it's not cheap. But if this is something, if you're a hardcore collector and you want this, go get it now, because Hasbro is putting it on the table. And that's it in terms of all the collector news from Hasbro at New York Toy Fair 2018. A lot of great characters to see, a lot of great characters to collect. The figure that I'm definitely most interested in getting is Commander Wolf in the 6-inch line. I know a lot of collectors will be after him as well. It kind of sucks that almost half of these new figures in the Black Series line are exclusives. But hey, that's the name of the game nowadays. So I'm also very excited that the vintage collection is finally coming back in April. I'll be collecting all of them when I see them, except for maybe Snoke. And I can't wait to get some of those solo Star Wars solo story characters in the vintage collection line as well. So a lot of great news this year from New York Toy Fair by Hasbro. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a like, and please subscribe for more content coming up soon for Star Wars The Black Series and more toys from W2C Toy Reviews. Until next time, may the toys be with you.